Hello everyone and welcome to the first League of Legends uReddit class. This is the Introduction to LoL class, and this is the first class, which is going to go over the basics of League of Legends. So League of Legends is a MOBA game, which means it is a multiplayer online battle arena, which means you would control a champion, hero, depending on which game you're talking about, and your main objective is to go and kill the enemy's base. Specifically the center of the base, which is either a nexus, an ancient, and that means usually in a MOBA game there are 3 lanes, and each lane has minions that go down it, and it also has a jungle in between the lanes. And also your teams have 5 players. Each champion has usually 3 abilities and an ultimate ability. And each champion levels up, getting experience and gold. And with the gold you earn, you can buy items that make you stronger and whatnot. And so all MOBA games are based off of the game Dota, which is Defense of the Ancients. And Dota is different from LoL in a lot of ways. And if you have never played Dota before, I'm going to go over the differences between Dota and LoL really quickly. And by all no means, also, and if you've never played Dota before, entirely skip this. This is not at all pertinent to you. And first off, let me talk about Dota by saying I've barely played Dota. I have very limited experience, so a lot of what I'm saying could potentially be wrong. So, disclaimer there. Main differences are LoL has no deny mechanic, so you can only last hit. You can't deny taking away the experience and gold from that counts to minions as well as turrets. You cannot control spawned monsters from your champions or champions. Like, from my limited experience, Venomancer has the little towers he can control. LoL champions that have that sort of thing cannot control them. They have an AI built in. And so because of that, there are no control groups since you can only control your one champion. LoL has no courier, so you can't buy your items while you're in the lane, but there's also no gold loss. And instead of having a scroll TP, there is a summoner spell teleport, as well as a free recall ability that brings you back to the fountain after 8 seconds. There is no buyback, sorry. So that means if you die, you die. The jungle camps, they have a different spawn system. I think from what I know about Dota, it's every so often jungle camp spawn as long as there's nothing there, but in League of Legends, it's when every single minion or monster in a camp is killed, the camp has a timer that starts, and once that timer reaches a certain point, which changes from camp to camp, it's about anywhere from 1 minute to 7 minutes, the camp then respawns, and so you can just kill it again. But the timer only starts when every single part of the camp is killed. There's only one, instead of having a barracks, and it's called an inhibitor, and instead of having 2, one for ranged and one for melee, there's 1, and that's for everything. And yeah, instead of having Roshan, there's 2 epic monsters, sorry. There is Dragon, which is much weaker than the other, which is Baron. And I'll go over those Dragon and Baron later. So back to the main topic, which is about LoL. LoL has 3 lanes, which 3 towers each. We're going to go over the map later. I'm going to show an image and whatnot. And the objective of LoL is to kill the enemy nexus. And that's not always so easy. But first off, we're going to talk about how to make an account. So you're going to go to leagueoflegends.com, which will either take you to this page or this page. This page is what you want to go to first. It is the sign up page. But if you somehow get directed to this is the League of Legends main page. To get to the sign up page, it's extremely easy. You just scroll down all the way to the bottom. You can either go under pvp.net and click sign up, or you can click the big play for free button. And once you get that, you're going to get to this. You're going to put your username, your password, your email address, whatever. Very self-explanatory. Note that your username here is not what your display name will be for your in-game name. So you're just going to click that, and then it's going to take you to the download page, it's very self-explanatory. The download, I'm not going to show it here, but it's gonna, if you click there, if you click the play for free button, you're going to get the download. You can also click the download the game button right here, as well as going onto the main page and clicking the download game button right underneath the latest news. And once you do that, you're going to get to this page. After you complete the download, you're going to get to this. And it's going to probably have a patch for you at the bottom. Just let that run. And once it's done, the play button will become orange. So you're going to click that, and now you're going to be able to put in your username and password. You're going to probably have the login music and menu animations on by default. I don't really need them on. That's not really important. So you're going to put your username in, and you're going to probably put your password in. And you can click the check the remember username button if you want to have everything just saved for you, and you can click login. And right now there's a login queue, which is usually surprising. Never is a login queue longer than a minute or so, especially if, except right after a patch, there's sometimes a long login queue, but usually it's not something you have to worry about. So we're just going to wait the last few seconds, and we should be able to get in. And then we're going to choose our summoner name and our summoner icon, which are important. Summoner name is quite important, but summoner icon can easily be changed, so that's not the biggest of things. So here, we're going to have to choose the our summoner name. So I'm going to choose the name Python LOL, because I am doing the uReddit class, and my name is Python. And it's going to accept it, and if the name is already taken, they'll give you an error message, but since mine was not taken, it didn't. So now I'm going to choose my summoner icon, press OK. And now it's going to give us a page asking us how confident we are with a game like League of Legends. So if you have no idea what you're doing, never played RTS like Warcraft, Starcraft, Command & Conquer, anything like that, and never played a MOBA before, you're probably a beginner. Because let's face it, you're out of your element. Maybe you play FPS games, maybe you play MMOs, whatever. If you've played StarCraft, Warcraft, you're an RTS player. If you've played a Dota type game, Han, something like that, you probably want to choose either veteran or expert, depending on how much of that game you've played. I'm going to choose expert since I've played a lot of League of Legends, believe it or not. And so yeah. And so then it's going to give you the option to start in battle training. And I'm going to click no because I have a little bit more to talk about right now. So then we're going to go back to this. And so now let's talk about the map. Actually, I don't want to be here. I want to be here. We have our trusty little paint. So here is the map for League of Legends. This is extremely scrolled out. You're going to be much farther zoomed in when you're playing. So let's see. Here's the lanes I was talking about. There's top lane, middle lane, and bottom lane. And in each lane, there's three towers. There's a tower. Whoops. There's a tower. I'm really bad at paint. Sorry. Oh my god. There's a tower here, here, and here. Right? So you have to kill the towers in order. You can't start killing the second tower until after you've killed the first tower. And once you kill all three towers, you gain access to the inhibitors. The inhibitors here, here, and here will essentially, once you kill them, each lane will spawn the lane that you've killed the inhibitor in will spawn super minions. Creeps, minions, same difference. The super minions are much stronger than the average minions, and will help to push down the Nexus towers. In addition, the minions in the other two lanes will start to become stronger. So once you have an inhibitor dead, the inhibitors respawn after a certain amount of time, and you can start killing the Nexus towers, which are these two. And so the Nexus towers are the only towers in the game that can regenerate health, and you can only hit them when the inhibitor is dead. And once you kill both of these towers, you can start hitting the Nexus. And the Nexus is the main goal of the game. It spawns the minions, and once your Nexus dies, you lose. Past the Nexus is the enemy base. You're probably never going to go back here. You have the fountain and the shop. The fountain is where the enemy spawns, and you spawn in your fountain in your base. And on the fountain, you get increased health regen and mana regen, which is to a point essentially that's going to, in about 10 seconds, fill you completely with health and mana. So, and this is where you go if you die or you recall and whatnot, and you also spawn here. In the back, there's the Nexus Tower, which does a lot of damage. I believe it's 1,000 true damage every second, and it's a laser. So essentially, it is meant to stop people from Nexus diving, fountain diving, sorry. So you still can, but it's very difficult. And here's the shop, where you can buy items and sell items from the gold you've earned from killing minions. And it's this exact same mirror on the other side. And so then you have the jungle. We're going to focus on the blue team jungle, but the purple team jungle is exactly the same thing, only flipped. So the stuff that we're showing on the top half of the jungle will be on the bottom half of the jungle over here, and this will be over here, and vice versa. So you have in League of Legends, there are 5 neutral camps. There is the lizard, there is the ancient golem, there are the wolves, there are the wraiths, and there is the ancient lizard, and there are the golems. The ancient golem, which is the blue buff, we're gonna call it blue golem because I can't keep calling it by its real name. It has, if you kill it, it gives you a buff that has increased mana regen and cooldown reduction. The buff lasts for 2.5 minutes, and if you die, you'll lose the buff, and it will go to the killer, and they'll have a refreshed cooldown, so it'll last for them 2.5 minutes until they die. And the Lizard Elder, which is the red lizard, or just red buff, it gives you a red buff, which is confusing because people just call it red buff. But the red buff will give you damage over time, true damage, which means it ignores armor and magic resist. We'll talk about this later. And also gives your auto attacks a slow. So your auto attacks will have a true damage dot as well as a slow. And this buff acts virtually the same as the blue buff. So it lasts 2.5 minutes, will trade with death and whatnot. So then we're going to look at the river. The river has 2 neutral camps, the dragon and the baron. Oh, by the way, the other 3 small camps, they essentially just give golden experience. And the wolves, there are 3 of them. The big wolf gives the most. He's right here, and then there's 2 small wolves there. And then there are 4 wraiths and 2 golems. In each camp, there's a big monster and a smaller set of monsters. The big monster gives the most gold, while the smaller ones give less gold. So each camp has some of those. The blue buff, wolves, and red buff have 2 small monsters. The wraiths have 3 small monsters, and the golems have 1 small monster. And then dragon, which we started talking about before, Dragon is a semi-epic monster that is usually a point of contention at some point in the game. Dragon gives you 190 global gold to each member of your team when you get the last hit on it. It spawns after 6 minutes, and usually requires multiple people to take down until later on in the game where when your champions become extremely strong and powerful. And it has a damage over time, attack speed slow, and he actually moves around just like every neutral camp except for Baron, which we're going to talk about later, but actually right now, can move around. So let's talk about Baron now. Baron spawns here. He looks kind of like a giant penis, and giant purple penis with multiple mouths I should say. And basically what he does is he is the strongest monster in the game, right? So when you kill him, which takes usually 5 members of your team, he gives you a buff that gives increased attack damage, ability power, health regen, and mana regen. So you're going to do more damage, you're going to regen more, and you're going to be a lot stronger. He also gives 300 global gold, and the Baron buff lasts for 4 minutes, and goes away when you're dead, but instead of like the blue and red buff, it does not transfer to your killer, it just disappears. So yeah, that's basically it. The lanes are all pretty much the same, and they're mirrored on the other side of the map, and The map is basically split down the middle by the river, which has access to the jungle through there and there, and same thing on the other side. So yeah, that's really it. The next week's class for this course is going to talk about a basic introduction of how to play LoL. But if you're really itching to start playing, I'm just going to tell you to go here in the client, click play, go to tutorials, and either you're going to do the basic tutorial for if you want to learn the controls and the basic movement and whatnot of the game, you're going to want to do the basic tutorial. But if you kind of know the game already, you've maybe played Dota before or whatnot, because the controls are very similar, you're going to want to go to Battle Training, which basically talks about the basics of League of Legends as a game. So yeah, that's basically it. Sorry if this was not perfect. I'm learning as well as you are. So yeah, thank you, and I hope to see you soon.